people, Tiffany Javon here back with another video, and today I actually want to talk about the 6 steps to staying consistent. And so without further ado, I want to start with number one. Number one is that we're going to set our goals. Okay, so setting your goals, you have to, whether it's faith, family, finance, fitness, or your future or your fun, you want to basically take a notepad and pen and start writing, right? I would say in each one of these areas, if they're applicable to you in your life, and there's something that you want to focus on, then I would say in each of your areas of goal setting, I would say that you need to have at least 2 to 3 goals. I would say 2 to 3 short-term goals. And short-term goals, I look at probably the next 6 months to a year because it's pretty short-term. Or the rest of 2025 can be short-term, and then long-term can be anything over a year. So, going into 2026, 27, 28, that type of thing. So I would say at least 2 to 3 goals for short-term and 2 to 3 goals for long-term. Or if you just want to start with short-term, get all those jotted down. Maybe you have 4 areas in your life that you want to focus on. Get a couple of goals for each of those areas. Now you have 8 total goals, okay? So you want to do that. We already talked about your goals being SMART. They have to be specific and measurable, and they have to be achievable. They have to be relevant, and they have to be time stamped or time bound, meaning you need a date. Okay, you need to set a date for each of these goals on when you want to get them completed by. So that's number one. Number two is that you want to learn how to prioritize. This is a hard thing, and I'm looking down, y'all, because I have like notes everywhere, right? So sorry about that. But sometimes the thing that keeps us from being consistent is our inability to prioritize. So when you're dealing with multiple tasks, and you're dealing with work, and you're dealing with personal life, you're dealing with personal tasks, you're dealing with obligations and different things and responsibilities, or whatever the case may be, sometimes we have what they call what is it called, like squirrel, right? When basically your attention is drawn, at the quick, whatever's urgent at the moment, that's what your attention is drawn to. But when you prioritize, what you're doing is you're taking, the sting out of just being so, anxious and jumping at every little piece of something that's moving. By prioritizing and making a list or prioritizing your schedule, you're actually taking, you're that control back. Okay, so it says learning how to prioritize can help you set your mind right, making it easier to deal with multiple things at once and ultimately become more consistent. There are a lot of ways and methods for you to prioritize. You can start with a simple to-do list. A lot of people sometimes they say, I have a to-do list, but I have it in my head. Well, first of all, it doesn't need to stay in your head, okay? You need to write it down, or you need to use your phone or something where you have your notes app or whatever. Open your notes and you need to write it down, okay? So write down your tasks and your obligations. If you want to go down to where it's daily, you might want to get to the point where you have daily tasks and different things, because this is not just, some people actually only do this for like when they're at work. They write down like a list of tasks or to-do lists that they have, actionable items and steps that they have to take. But no, you don't have to just do it for work. You can do it for your personal life as well. And so it says write down a simple to-do list, and then you want to start ticking them off or checking them off one by one. It's also very helpful to write down a not to-do list. And I think this is powerful because most people only focus on the to-do list, right? They don't focus on the not to-do list, or I would call it even the delegation list. Okay, so these are things that you don't necessarily, they need to be taken care of, yes, but it doesn't have to be taken care of by you. You can either delegate these things, or these are something that you are not to do, right? Not to focus on, not to worry about, and find a way in which to get them taken care of by delegation. Okay, so if that doesn't work, you can always try the many prioritization techniques until you find one that suits your needs. Now, this is not, with prioritization, it's not a one size fits all. You're not gonna just write down a simple to-do list and say, oh, I got it, I got life figured out. Like, no, it's gonna take some trial and error, whether you need to have a manual or physical to-do list, like writing down on physically on notebook or paper, or do you need to have a digital task list, or whatever the case may be? You actually make notes in your phone. Whatever you pay attention to, whatever works for you is what works for you. But you have to keep changing it up and keep adjusting it and making changes and adjustments until you find the perfect method that works for you. Okay. Here's some of the categories that you need to have when you are doing your to-do list or your not to-do list. But basically for your to-do list is category one is you have urgent and important. Okay, these things that need to be taken care of right away. Okay, that's category one. So the priority one. Priority two would be not urgent but important tasks. So they're important, but they're not urgent. So it doesn't necessarily have to be done right now, but it needs to be done at some point. You should schedule these for a later date. So this is where your schedule comes in. Maybe it's something that's important that has to be done maybe this month, but it doesn't have to be done right this minute or right this second. Okay. Number three, or priority three, is urgent, but it's not important. So try to delegate these. Again, this may fall on your not to do list, right? So if it's urgent and it's not important, that means somebody else can handle it, right? And then number four, priority four, is not urgent and not important. So don't even bother doing these. Eliminate them, or you can either eliminate them or you can postpone them indefinitely. Because if they're not urgent and they're not important, why are we even focus on that anyway? Why? And if nothing else, it's for you to capture it so you know that this is something that I shouldn't even be bothered with. And then if you want to go a step further, you can take these categories and you can assign time to them, a timestamp or timetable. If the urgent and important category one, the priority things, if you feel like that's going to take you, hours, or it's going to take you days to complete, write that down, right? And then put a timestamp on there. I need to have this completed by this date, or whatever the case may be. So, definitely do that there. Okay. So there's different ways and methods in which you can prioritize, but definitely you need to prioritize your goals in order to be able to get them accomplished. Number three is that you want to always record your progress. So you always want to be taking an account for kind of where you are, looking at your list, looking at your goals, your priorities, and figuring out, okay, am I checking these off, when they're supposed to be checked off? Am I completing my priorities in time because I put a date next to these priorities? And maybe 50% of the time or 60% of the time you're completing your task on their scheduled date or by their scheduled date, but for some reason there's a few others that's kind of missing the deadline. Like, you can always go back and record your progress, see what's going on, see what's working, what made you go ahead and knock off the ones that you did knock off, and then not get to the others in a timely fashion. Like, what happened, what distractions came up, or whatever the case may be. So it says another vital part of learning how to be consistent is to actively record progress on your tasks, your goals, and your obligations, your priorities. You can go with a low-tech method as simple as keeping a journal. So again, I would say have a to-do list journal or to-do list, notepad or whatever the case may be, and go back into that notepad or go back into that journal and you jot down, okay, your success, and then your failure or your adjustment that you need to make, and you go from there. Number four is that you want to limit distractions. First of all, you want to not necessarily assign distractions, because you're not assigning yourself distractions. Largely, some say distractions. You want to limit distractions by recognizing them. Okay, you want to assess and you want to recognize, okay, what is preventing me from kind of like doing that research, or kind of doing that progress report on yourself or your goals. Like, what am I getting completed? Why is there I'm getting these things completed but I'm not getting these things completed? What is distracting me? What is hindering me? What is my hang up, that's preventing me from getting these things done? And so by first of all recognizing them, then you can work to eliminate them, right? It says here's how you can do that. You can have a dedicated workspace, turn off your phone while you're working on certain things, turn off your notifications. If you have both Android and iPhone, I believe they both have a function to where you can set it on like focus mode or do not disturb or whatever the case may be. And there's apps for pretty much anything you want to do with a phone. There's apps for it, so you can do that as well. Limit your time that you're spending browsing on social media. Like, if you're not being productive with your social media browsing, like limit it. Like, you know what I mean? You don't need to. Now, granted, I'm not saying that we can't, escape for the day and, look at what other people have going on or whatever. But when you get caught in the scroll dungeon, like, you can get caught scrolling, and before you know it, like, you've been sitting there an hour scrolling on your phone, and you literally got nothing done with that hour. Now, granted, if you assign yourself an hour or you delegate, yourself an hour, and you have an hour to just, just scroll and figure out how things are going, or just look at social media. Okay, that's your time then. If your time is an hour, then let it be an hour. Don't let it be above an hour, because there's times where you can sit in one session and be scrolling, and before you know it, it's an hour. But then guess what? Don't find yourself sitting down at another time in that same day doing the same thing, because guess what? Now you're at 2 hours. Now you're an hour above what you have allotted for yourself. You see what I'm saying? So that's how distractions can come, is because you can allow something that actually you set aside time for to go over and bleed over into other sections where that time is allotted to something else. But you've allowed that to come in and kind of throw your whole schedule out of whack. Okay, so try time management techniques. Again, there's apps for this. You can look up apps, you can Google apps, and then you can create a routine and stick to it and try to do that as well. That helps you. Number 5 is that you want to track your time. Track the time that it's taking you to complete each of these tasks, each of these goals, each of these things on your to-do list and your priority list. Track your time, whether it be hours, whether it be minutes, whether it be days, or whatever, whether it takes you weeks, because it's a process. Maybe, you have to get something done in a certain time. It is not something that's completely 100% in your control. There's other variables. Maybe you have to mail something off by a certain date, or whatever the case may be. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so there's other factors, there's other variables. Of course, so those things might actually take a little bit longer than just a day or two or whatever, and I understand that. But even in that, you need to set a date for it. Set a date for when you're going to get it completed by and work towards that date. So you want to track your time, track how long it's taking you to do it, and then going back to where it says you need to always record your progress. Step 3, you need to be tracking your time and recording how long it's taking you to do it, or recording how long it's taking you not to do it, and recognizing those distractions and eliminating them, assessing them, recognizing them, and then eliminating them. Okay, and then number 6 is that you want to be patient and forgive your failures, forgive your shortcomings. Nothing's gonna be perfect. Okay, this is like a what they call a live document. It's like a live action that you're gonna have to do on a continuous basis for the rest of your life, pretty much, or whatever the case may be, until you get to the point where maybe you're making so much money that you really can delegate a lot of things because you have people working for you. But even in that, you still need to prioritize the things that's more important to you first, and vice versa. You got to put things in categories, right? So it says once you start on your journey to become more consistent, you will inevitably encounter failure. It's bound to happen. Nobody's perfect, right? Don't make anybody make you feel less than because you didn't complete something, or don't you make yourself feel less than because you didn't complete something by the date that you assigned to it, right? It says it could manifest itself in the form of not meeting the deadlines you set for yourself, or it could end up with completely failing to meet the mark. In either case, it's important not to give up, but to give yourself enough time to work on another solution. Forgive yourself, be patient, give yourself grace, right? And change your mindset about it, because it may not necessarily be failure in a sense where you just failed and nothing can be done about it. No, it's failure in the sense where, okay, I learned what not to do, right? I learned that doesn't work, so let me try this. Okay, so hopefully you guys found value in this video. I hope you guys let me know, like, in comments below, like what things that have you done, have you established or set in your life that causes you to be more consistent, or that you recognize, okay, maybe this isn't a distraction for me, and if I eliminate doing this so much, then I can get more things done. I can be more productive. Kind of comment below. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Do not forget to be gracious with yourself. Okay, give yourself grace, guys. And until my next video, guys, stay blessed. Bye.